And what about that three-part Four Corners report that they had pushing Trump, Russia conspiracy theories? They called it, and I quote here, the story of the century, the election of US President Donald Trump and his ties to Russia. Have we had any sort of correction, any update when some of those conspiracy theories were comprehensively debunked?
Yeah, well, the allegation that was put forward by Four Corners was very simply and very specifically that Donald Trump colluded with Vladimir Putin to steal the election. It was the original election denial claim that was surfaced by the media, and you paid for it. And these people have never sought to correct the record. We now know that Comey and all the documents and the entire push to the American people to try and establish that this actually happened, we now know that it's completely bogus. There is no evidence. Of course, Russia tries to influence every single election. They probably try and influence Australian election. But the specific narrative was that Donald Trump knowingly worked with them hand in glove to attempt to steal an election. It was the biggest denial of democracy. There was no evidence for it other than these very strong allegations. And for a story of the century, the ABC seems to have gone very quiet on it.
They did, but I think they spent plenty of money putting that three-part series together. I mean, Hillary Clinton's campaign office could have put that together for them, probably a lot cheaper. Could have been less biased as well. Now, in addition to the Trump edit, the ABC was also caught out for altering a photograph of Senator Jane Hume holding a front page. It's the Australian newspaper. She was holding this up in Parliament. The network initially tried to justify the edit as satire, but later conceded the montage was misleading and inaccurate. Liberal Senator Sarah Henderson has called for a formal Senate inquiry into the ABC. She argued the national broadcaster has repeatedly failed to uphold its legal requirement to report news impartially and accurately. Jack, and that's the point. They have a charter to fulfil. They are taxpayer funded. They're different to every other media organisation. And they seem to ignore that charter each and every single day.
Yeah, well, exactly. The charter's irrelevant if the ombudsman just refuses to look at things. And I also want to make the point, satirical content produced by the ABC in a supposed news program, if that is the excuse, it's really convenient how the satire always seems to be against conservatives. And there is something that's a little bit more insidious about this story because, yes, they have shamelessly doctored the photo of the Australian to put the coalition MPs there. But the functional purpose for putting them there was to make fun of them for having the policy debate about net zero. So some dopey producer at the ABC, and I do think that's what this was, because David Spears throws to this grab and he throws to this package with a straight face. So for them to say that this was satire, I genuinely think he had no idea they were going to do this and would have been just as shocked as anybody now seeing some of this coverage. But it goes to this package with this goofy music and this voiceover saying that the coalition just keeps trying to make the story about themselves. It was an effort to mock the coalition, and based on the people that I'm talking to in the coalition, this is kind of like a straw that broke the camel's back situation. It's so plain to see the bias that the ABC has against anybody that's in the coalition that they're now feeling a little bit more comfortable to call for things such as a Senate inquiry, because I think that a lot of these senators are feeling we have no choice. There is $1 billion a year organisation which is actively working against us, and when you have a responsibility over discourse...
Jack, they have worked against the coalition for years, and whilst in power, they do nothing about it. You know what? I've got limited sympathy for the coalition because when they have the opportunity to do something, they fail.
It's fair criticism.
Jack Houghton, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Rita.